Hi, and welcome to the Dingers Podcast. This is episode 26. This is Mitch. I'm here with my boys, Kevin and Jeff. How are you guys tonight?
Not bad. How's Mitchell and Kevin?
I'm doing well. Staying warm. Trying to, at least.
Yeah, it's pretty frigid here in the Midwest right now.
Dude, waking up to go coach CrossFit at 4 in the morning and trying to start your car not happy. And I feel like I drive the whole way, just curled up in a ball. Oh, it's freezing here. What was the temperature today?
It was a negative 13 degrees when I drove to CrossFit.
And that was the air temperature before you took into account wind.
Yeah, I'm really thankful for heated seats and a heated steering wheel.
For sure.
Especially since I'm an idiot and I wear shorts and flip-flops to the gym no matter what the weather is.
He does every day, folks. Every day, shorts and flip-flops.
Yeah, well, we have a big announcement. We have officially joined the ChiCitySports podcast family. If you want the latest news in all Chicago sports teams, whether that is the Bulls, Bears, Blackhawks, Cubs, or that other team from the South Side, ChiCitySports is your place to get that information. You can still listen to our podcast in all places that you get podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of them out there. But you can join the message boards on ChiCitySports.com. You can trash talk Jeff. You can discuss all the bad trades that the Cubs might make this year. But yeah, ChiCitySports.com. But we're excited to join their podcasting family. Yeah. So before we get into talking about the Cubs, there's been a lot of things happening just in the major leagues this week. A lot of signings. I think there's just a flurry of signings going on. The first and the big one that dropped, and I think that was the one that everybody was waiting for, was the Trevor Bauer signing with the Dodgers. As if we needed another reason to hate the Dodgers, they sign a top-tier Cy Young Award-winning pitcher. I secretly love me some Trevor Bauer. Just going to say it. Trevor, if you're listening and you want on the pod, hit me up anytime. I would get you on. But I love his swag. I love that he just is black and white and tells it how it is and says a lot of dumb things, but I like me some Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, I've enjoyed how he's used his signing. Also talk about kind of women in baseball. His agent, Rachel Luba. You want to hear more? His YouTube channel and then the Momentum YouTube channel are really kind of fun to watch. He is upfront and honest and he will tell you how he thinks it is. And sometimes that's funny to listen to. And he's got points sometimes.
And he does a great job of promoting the game. I think that's something that baseball's been missing. And he does that. You can tell he loves baseball and he wants to see it reach a bigger audience. And so I love me some Trevor Bauer.
You know, I wish we had some money in the till to where we could have signed him. But
we broke.
The Dodgers had to do something to keep up with the Padres.
Yep.
So that should be an interesting NL West race out there, folks.
Yeah. Another signing, speaking of, is Justin Turner signs back with the Dodgers. Some potential implications for Chris Bryant. What do you guys think?
Since Justin Turner was like the last really decent third baseman out there on the market, now that he's signed, it could give the Cubs some leverage, to trade him and get a bigger haul. But I honestly think Chris is going to start the season with the Cubs.
Yeah. And
it depends on how we're doing at the deadline, whether he stays a Cub or we unload him.
Yeah, I think they're going to play it out, and they're going to ride the first half of the season and see what happens. If they're competing for the division, they'll keep him. If they're out of it, see you, Chris. You gone. Yeah. I did like that Walker Buehler, huge troll on the Brewers. If you're watching live, I'll post the tweet. So he posted, "Were we scared? The Brewers?" And then just laughing. And Brewers fans got big mad over this tweet, and you should read some of the comments. from that tweet. If you ever just go to Walker Buehler, he does a really good job on social media as well. But you should definitely read the comments because Brewer fans are big mad. So the next big signing is stupid Yadier Molina, which you do have to give him credit. He just robbed the Cards for $9 million. No way would I pay a guy who's over 40 who can't hit $9 million. But good for Yadi. He got paid. He got his. I will continue to hate you now for 2 reasons, because you're Yadier Molina, and now you still play for the Cardinals, so I will still dislike you.
You at least you hate to see the Cardinals pay too much. Just
yeah,
it just stinks. Here, let me mop a tear.
I mean, they had money to spend after they got Nolan Arietta and $50 million.
Yeah.
I mean, all I want to know is, what do Yachty's knees sound like when he crouches down behind the plate? Do they snap, crackle, and pop like mine?
Oh, definitely. And he still plays in a boring town.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Boring.
Yeah.
Terribly boring.
The other big signing was Marcelo Zuna. He signs back with the Braves. I don't know what they're going to do with him, because last year they kind of hit him in the DH role. Well, we'll get into this more in the rules that we're going to talk about the MLB having this year. There's no DH in the NL this year. So we saw how horrible his defense was when he played for the Cardinals. So it might be an interesting little show out there with Zuna playing left or right, wherever they're wanting to stick him. The D-Gens from Upcountry. Well, we're talking a little bit about the Brewers. They got themselves a top tier second baseman in Colton Wong. Good for them. They're still going to end up in 3rd in the Central. So congratulations. You got yourself a pretty decent second baseman, one that I wish the Cubs would have signed. So that kind of made me a little sad.
You really wanted Colton Wong on our team?
I could get past that. He used to play for the Cardinals. I think he's a decent. If you looked at the second baseman market right now, it's pretty thin.
It was thin, very thin.
And especially with Kipnis signing with the Braves today, like it was getting thinner and thinner the longer it goes on.
If we had another center fielder, we could bring Ian Happ back to the infield.
Could.
But Albert Almora Jr. could not hit the ball.
Nope.
That's true. That's true. Unfortunately, there's another second baseman off the market too. Could have been an interesting reunion if Tommy La Stella had come back. Unfortunately, he signed with the Giants.
Yeah. Man, I loved me some Tommy La Stella.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, so well, good luck with him and with the Giants. Well, let's get into what the Cubs did this offseason. Cubs, it's going to be a new look, especially in the pitching staff is going to look a lot different, but the Cubs did pick up some position players. They picked up Jock Peterson to replace Kyle Schwarber, which we all loved. He was our left fielder, but Jock Peterson is a very similar pickup, very similar batting, very similar defense, maybe a little bit of a step up in the defense. A lot of same hitting style, left-handed, who hits righties pretty good, but can't hit lefties. So that's gonna be another thing that we're gonna have to kind of watch as the season goes on. He did kind of get guaranteed that he would get the everyday job for him to lose, and that's what he wanted. I know when he played for the Dodgers, he only kind of played when there was a righty pitching, and he wasn't an everyday left fielder. So, and he was playing for the Dodgers, which they were pretty stacked. So how do you guys like this signing? How do you guys feel about the Jock Peterson signing?
I like it. It's a little bit of fresh blood on the roster. Nothing against Kyle. I was a huge Kyle fan, but his defense hurt us from time to time, and then there was a season and a half where he didn't really hit the best. I mean, he did a better job last year at the plate, but still, if we can get a contact guy that can actually field the fly ball, I'll be happy.
I think that's the big deal, is that he's more contact focused, and the lineup was so power hitting heavy that it became too easy to game plan for the Cubs hitters. And I think this shakes it up a little bit, as much as they could with their limited spending that they did this offseason. I'm really sad to see him go, but at least they brought in someone similar and yet different in the right way.
Yeah, I think he's going to make a little bit more contact. We saw kind of an uptick in that last year, especially for Peterson. And I mean, he is a winner. He won all those years with the Dodgers. At least we are getting a winner back, not somebody that's come from a losing franchise. Like our next guy that we can talk about, Trevor Williams, longtime Pirates pitcher, still pretty young, but he has some sweet tattoos. He loves him some Star Wars and The Mandalorian, and he's great on social media. So he checks 3 of my boxes right there. He had a 31-37 record with the Pirates for his career. Did have a pretty high 4.43 ERA. I will bring up that in 2018, he won 14 games. That year, he pitched a 3.11 ERA and 31 starts. In the second half of that year, he had a 1.29 ERA after the All-Star break. That's pretty good. If we could get that Trevor Williams in this rotation, I would take that in a heartbeat. So hopefully when he gets with Hottovy and gets with the Cubs pitching staff, that they can kind of figure some things out. The one thing I will bring up is that makes Trevor kind of unique is his release point is lower than 80% of major leagues out there. So his release point is lower, but his active spin rate is still pretty high, and he's not getting a lot of movement. The active spin rate is what causes the ball to move, and he's not getting a lot of movement as it pitches, and that's what's caused him to give up a lot of dingers and for him to struggle. So I wonder if Hottovy and them guys can kind of figure some things out, tweak some things so that he can get back to the 2017-18 form of good Trevor Williams. What do you guys like that? I mean, we can talk a little bit more about it because we will be discussing the pitching staff a little bit more in depth. What are you guys' initial thoughts?
You can't really look at his record on paper because he's played for the Pirates.
Folks,
very good point.
This folks right here, no run support. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, there was one season where they traded away everybody that could hit the ball.
Yeah, McCutcheon gone.
I mean, he could have a 1 ERA and still lose 14 games.
Yeah.
That was going to be what I brought up too, is lack of run support. The whole win-loss record for pitchers is kind of an off stat. It's not a stat that the pitchers themselves can fully control. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see him fit into the rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully our pitching staff can kind of tweak a few things with his mechanics and his delivery, and he pans out. I'd like to see a 6-person rotation for part of the season while we get rolling.
Yeah, especially with guys not getting stretched out super long last year, it might save on some injuries of maybe going with a 6-man. We have the staff right now to be able to do that, which we'll get into when we talk about the pitchers. That's what we're going to be doing here in a second. We signed a catcher, didn't we, Jeff?
Yeah, his name is Austin Romney. The dude's beard game is super strong. We signed for 1 year, $1.5 million. He's a 32-year-old catcher, was the second-round pick by the Yanks back in 2007. And he spent 13 years in the organization before he went to the Tigers last year. He's a career .239 hitter with 27 homers in 1,251 plate appearances. His defense is good, so he's serviceable. He's a serviceable backup catcher for us. I have to say, if he's a career .239 hitter, that means he hit 22 points more than Jason Hayward hit in 2019.
You have to bring that up every time, don't you?
Well, we're paying the guy $188 million to catch fly balls in right field.
It's a good point. Strong point. I think he's a serviceable backup. I mean, we've obviously got Contreras. He's going to be the everyday guy. I think this is your insurance plan, just in case something goes wrong and for the off days.
I mean, he won't be as good of a backup as Caratini, because Caratini had a stick, not last year, but in years prior, he had a stick where he could get you a good RBI, he could get you a good base hit when you needed it. So we'll see. Again, serviceable backup. That's what he's going to be. The first of our Jake signings is Jake Marisnik. The Cubs basically made a trade with the Mets here. So the Mets signed Albert Almora on a 1-year deal, or no, a 2-year deal, I think it was. A 2-year deal. And then shortly after that, the Cubs signed Marisnik, free agent, who played for the Mets last year. And they're basically the same player. The only thing I would say is Marisnik is a way better defensive player. So he was rated in the top 10 for defense since 2013. So we're getting a very good defensive player, which I think our defense needs a guy that can go get balls and save some runs. You might be asking, can he hit? And the answer is no, he can't.
So it's something we're used to. Instead of seeing Almora Jr., it's going to be Marisnik on the jersey.
Yep.
Can he play any other outfield positions? Like, could he spell Jason Hayward?
He can play them all. He can play everywhere. He's a good defense player. So
right.
We'll see what we got
good.
in spring training. We'll see what we got with him. The big signing that just happened, I guess he hasn't officially signed, is the Jake Arrieta signing. So how excited are you guys for the Jake Arrieta comeback tour?
I'm super stoked. I really hope this signing pans out this year. Dude, there's nothing better than watching him out on the mound with the straight bill and the beard, humming fastballs. I mean, for the nostalgic reason, it gets you a little hyped. I mean, I loved watching him pitch in 15 and 16. It was great. But, we let him go to sign Darvish, and then we let Darvish go, and we signed Jake. So that just makes a lot of sense. Perfect.
Yeah, I agree. Considering the lack of off-season acquisitions the last couple of years, when I heard this immediately, I went, yes. And then you look under the hood and you're kind of like, okay, I like old Jake. I hope we get old Jake back.
Right.
I agree with Jeff. I'm going to enjoy seeing him on the mound, seeing his energy, seeing his, his way of doing things has always been fun to watch as a fan. I'm really hoping he comes back to form, or if anything, he becomes, that veteran in the rotation with Hendricks and some of the other guys, and just kind of, I'm hoping can mellow out or smooth transitions between pitchers. Yeah,
I mean, nostalgic alone, I loved it. I got super excited Friday, just because it makes you think 2016, 2015, happy thoughts, good things happened. You're like, yes, I like this. But then when you really peek under the hood, you're like, okay, what do we got? And you're probably asking what happened in Philly. And yep, I'm guessing
steaks, man.
Philly cheesesteaks got him. And I'm guessing you probably didn't watch a ton of Phillies games. So what happened? Well, one, I think the area turned into more of a pitch to contact pitcher, which he wasn't with the Cubs at all. During his prime in 2015, 2016, batters whiffed at a 24% rate. And with the Phillies, it dropped to a 17% clip. So one of the things that has kind of changed in the last couple of years is now batters are all about launch angle. They're trying to launch the ball in the air. So that splitter that he had, it's easy for them get low in the zone for them to launch. And I think that's what's kind of caused a little maybe uptick in his less whiffs and way more contact. So hopefully that he gets in with Hotovy. They kind of talk through things, and the Cubs do what they did with Hendricks. Hendricks throws a sinker, and he throws it low, or he did in 2015 and 2016. If you notice last year, Hendricks threw his sinker up in the zone a lot more. I noticed it right away in the very first game of the season against the Brewers that he was throwing his sinker way higher. He was getting a lot more swings and misses. So I think he needs to learn how to change with the times a little bit, not change who he is, not be a different Jake that I think he was with the Phillies. They tried to change him too much. He just needs to be Jake. It just means maybe the pitch placement needs to change. And so I think they can do some things. I'm trying to be optimistic in that he can return to form and that we'll get a good Jake out of this.
I mean, he caught fire when we got him from Baltimore because Baltimore was totally trying to change his mechanics from the way he had pitched all the way through college. And it's when he came to the Cubs, he had like a season or two in the minors, and they kind of let him be who he was as a pitcher, and he took off. So hopefully coming back to the friendly confines and a familiar place, we can get 10 wins out of him.
I would take it.
Maybe hopefully 12. We'll see.
Did you guys see after the sign or after the breaking of the potential signing or whatever, there were some tweets kind of going around, and it was something like, since Jake left, the Cubs are 0-3 in playoff games or something. It was like, obviously it's all because of Jake. So we brought him back. We're winning playoff games.
Yeah. Crazy stat. Jake Arrieta is the last Cubs pitcher to win a playoff game. So that's.
Was that against the Nationals then?
No, it was against the Dodgers. He pitched game 3, so he didn't get swept, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Or game 4, maybe. I can't remember. I think it was 4. Game 4. But yeah,
it was one. It was the hiccup game in that one. What do you guys think? We talked about a little bit. Do you think we're going to sign anybody to play second base?
I mean, I had my hopes on Kipnis, but then today he signed with the Braves, so no reunion there. I think it's going to be like, all right, here's the keys, Nico. You're a second baseman. You didn't really do a whole lot to earn it, but you didn't do a whole lot to not earn it. You'd probably be better off in Iowa, but we'll go with you.
Can David Bodie play second base?
He can. He has. The bigger question is Daniel Descalso still available? I mean,
that dude has retired to Paducah, Kentucky, and is just choking down the Kentucky Fried Chicken. There is no way that he can make it from home plate to first base without an oxygen tank.
I mean, too bad.
We had him for 2 years to sit in a dugout and drink beer and eat hot dogs, so why not another year?
What, 2 years? What do you get, like 4 hits? You pay the guy $3 million to get 4 hits and eat all the clubhouse food?
Yeah, so let's take a look a little bit more.
I can play second base, and I'll do it for $1 million.
Yeah, a bargain price, folks. Right here.
And I'll even slide in a salad here and there. How's that?
All right, well, let's take a look at our pitching staff. Pitchers and catchers do report Wednesday, which is crazy to think about because it's below 0 here in Arizona. So let's take a look at our pitching staff. So our starting 5 or 6, we don't know. We have the guys: Hendricks, Arietta, Davies, Alzolay, Mills, and Williams. What's your concern right now with the starting rotation?
If they can actually perform. I mean, there's like one person that's not a question mark on that rotation, and that would be Hendricks. Now, I know he's not going to be perfect every game, but 80% of the starts he makes, he's going to go into the 5th, 6th inning. Another 5% of those games, he's going to take it into the 7th or 8th. But what we don't know is we don't know what kind of Arietta we're going to get. I mean, Zach Davies had some really good years with the Brewers, but I really didn't pay attention to him after that when he went to the out west with the Padres, because who wants to watch NL West baseball? Nobody.
I do. I want to watch Fernando Tatis. I don't necessarily want to watch anybody else.
I'm not watching the Giants, the Diamondbacks, the Dodgers, none of that crap. But then I think Adbert, I don't know if he's really ready for an entire full season of Major League Baseball, as a starter. I think he's still kind of progressing a little bit, and maybe he emerges this year and becomes like a fourth, fifth rotation guy and improves from here on out. But Mills blew my expectations away last year. Like, I had none at all. So there was nobody more surprised in the room when he recorded a no-hitter against the Brewers.
Be honest, you're still sad we didn't sign Chatwood back, right?
Well, I guess we do need somebody to fill up the Gatorade. And fold the towels and bring them out to the dugout for the guys. But no, what Mills had last year, like 10, 11 starts maybe. And he had like one or two that were just bad outings. So to ask him to go from 10 or 11 starts to 30 starts, can he do it for a full season is the big question mark. I mean,
I would say that's the question mark with all the pitchers. Is there going to be a whole bunch of injuries this year because they're not stretched out and not built for that? That's going to be a huge question. I mean, I'll be honest. I'll say I like Zach Davies. I don't like that we had to give up Darvish to get him. But I remember him pitching for the Brewers and owning us. And you're like, how are we not hitting this guy? He can barely break glass, but yet he's dominating. He is like a poor man's Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah.
And I will say with Alzolay, the way he finished the season last year, his slider was unhittable. And if you talk to, like, I listened to some guys that were down in the other site last year, and they said by far Alzolay's slider was the most unhittable pitch there. And so, like, I'm excited to see where he's at. And that's why I brought up the Arietta thing of, like, hopefully he doesn't get in the way of the opportunity that we have with our young pitchers, because we do have some young pitchers that are in the minors that could get some really good time. Yeah, Braylon Marquez. You have a ton down there that are pretty decent.
So, like, I guess my thoughts with the Arrieta thing is, maybe they were gonna push the young guys to pitch this year, and then maybe they thought, hey, if we can pick this guy up on the cheap when we know what we had when he was here, if we can kind of get some of that back, that'll give us a year to get Braylon Marquez and a couple other guys some seasoning. So maybe that's my thought on why they did sign Jake again, which I'm not pissed. I'm fine.
And I just think that you need 5 or 6, 7 guys there, especially this year, because there's gonna be an injury. There's always an injury in the starting rotation. They're never gonna not miss a start to have somebody there and ready. And I mean, you have Shelby Miller too, that was signed, that is getting an invite. He's a veteran pitcher. He's pitched well in his past career. He hasn't pitched well lately in the last couple of years, but I mean, he's a guy that could fill in a spot start for a rotation if we need it. So I think our rotation's decent. It's serviceable. It's good enough to win the Central this year. I'll say that.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And I think it's really built for that potential for 6 starters. I wouldn't be surprised to see some of the younger guys start out the year in Iowa, and then they bring them up. And if there's not an injury, we move to a 6-starter rotation to save on arms later in the season. But I think it's kind of one of those, it's the young guys' year to go out there and get their spots, go and earn their starts. And I'm kind of excited for that, because that might push them to that point where they're going to be MLB ready every day.
Right. No, I think the 6-man rotations might be something more of the norm, moving forward. Kind of, like the 2 to 3 platoon running back in the NFL. You know?
Yep. All right. What are your guys' thoughts with our bullpen? I mean, we still have Kimbrel, and that's going to be one where what Kimbrel are we going to get this year? Because he finished decently the second half of last year, started out with just on the struggle bus. But we do have Wick. We do have Winkler that has done well. We had Underwood that did pretty well last year. We signed Chafin back. We have Adams, who is said to have the best changeup in the organization. So better than Hendricks. I don't know. I'm interested to see where we go this year with the bullpen. The last, I think, 2 years, it feels like that we've kind of just scrapped some bullpen together with some young guys, and it's turned out
coins we found in the couch cushions in the clubhouse.
But it was serviceable. We did all right. We got through. So
I felt really good about where we were at the end of the season last year with our bullpen. You know, I said it like in the first episode that we recorded like a month ago that I think the only difference between us and the World Series champion Dodgers was hitting. Like, I felt like our starting rotation was every bit as good as theirs, and our bullpen was every bit as good as theirs. But, you know, this year our starting rotation is not going to have what they have, but it was the hitting. So, like, the bull, I'm pretty comfortable with who we have in the pen right now. You know, if everybody can stay healthy and, you know, add to what they did last year.
Yeah, I think because of the success last year, I am not as worried about the bullpen. I think we're going to have some guys step up and do pretty well. But that could be masked by all my worry with the starting rotation. Yeah. You know, that's where my question marks are going on in my head. Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And are we going to end up in a position where we rely on the bullpen more? And then that shows its weaknesses.
One that I'm going to just throw this guy out here because I don't think he's going to start opening day on the Cubs roster. It's a guy that we drafted last year, Burl Carraway. The dude is legit. And this is a picture of him on Instagram today. He out there grinding in the snow pitching today. He posted a picture on Instagram, but the dude is legit good. He tops out at 100. He has an overpowering curveball. And I think he kind of reminds me when I watch tape of him of, if you remember, Billy Wagner back with the Astros back in the day. Smaller lefty guy that could throw gas, has a nasty slider and a curveball. I'm interested to see. He's going to be the long-term bullpen guy that we're going to have for a number of years. So I'm excited to possibly, just kind of throw this out early and now that he's going to be a guy, I think the second half of the season we're going to bring up and he's going to come in and dominate and pitch lights out. But the thing with our bullpen is we have a ton of guys that are high velocity guys that are really unproven. And so I want to see them get opportunity to pitch, but it's a little bit less risky this year than last year. Last year was like, you lose some games, it's a struggle to make the playoffs. This year, you have a little bit more wiggle room at the beginning of the season. I would really like to see them bring back Jeremy Jeffress. The dude was lights out last year. So I would love for him to come back, or I would love for them to sign Trevor Rosenthal. The dude sat at 98 last year. He had a 1.90 ERA, and he had a 14 K per 9 inning.
Wow.
So,
wow.
So there's two guys out there, and I know they need to find at least maybe one more bullpen arm. There you go, Jed. Do you need me to give me their number? I'll call them.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I one of those two guys would be a nice addition to the bullpen, I think.
Yeah, I like both of them. Which I'm surprised is they didn't try to get Jeffress already. I mean, he really came on strong last year in the bullpen and really, I think, was a cornerstone of it. So.
Well, we have a little bit of new rules and some that we're keeping. We'll touch on one this year that is changing from last year. No universal DH. And the thing with this is that makes me a little bit frustrated is teams spent almost the whole off season not knowing how to build their roster because this decision was not decided until like, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? Mm-hmm. So how are you supposed to build a roster without knowing if you're going to have a DH or if you're going to have pitchers hit? Like, it puts the GM in a horrible situation. That should have been something that should have been decided way earlier. Should have been decided right after the World Series. Hey, we're going to do this or we're not going to do this for next year.
Yeah, I totally agree. I really enjoyed watching games with the DH last year. It was a lot of fun to not see that spot come up in the order and you go, well, we got one out and a guy on first. Pitcher's up there just going to look at 3 straight strikes and walk off, I really enjoyed that. And we got to see some more players that would have, I don't know, potentially sat on the bench more. They actually were engaged in the game. Schwarber was DHing for a while. We had those games where Contreras would DH while Caratini was catching. Granted, we don't have Caratini this year, but you start to see those combinations, which I think are a lot more exciting for the fans to watch than the pitcher coming up to hit.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and if you had guys that were slightly injured and would have just had an off day, they could fill in there. I know Bryant did that a couple times. He didn't do it well because he didn't hit it at all last year. But you had where they would normally have an off day, but they would fill in for the DH, and you didn't have a pitcher that just struck out every time. Now, we did sign Jake back, and Jake has a stick. So I'm all for Jake Arrieta hitting some bombs. So yeah, the not having the DH back, I think it's just a bad decision altogether.
Yep. Agree, Michael.
Don't you think that Kyle Hendricks kind of resembles Henry Rodengartner in the batter's box?
He does. You're right. Okay, on our Twitter and Instagram, I will get a picture of them and post them side by side, and that will be posted tomorrow. Now, definitely, he does. Definitely. One rule that has kind of come up lately is eliminating the shift. This is something that I know is kind of a hot topic. People are getting kind of sick of, especially the hitters, of the shift, especially the extreme shift. Here is a clip that we're just going to run it. It's from MLB Radio, Jim Duquette, and this is Ian Happ just talking about the shift and the struggles that he's having with it.
When you look out there and you know that any ball you hit to right field that isn't over the fence is an out because there's so many people over there, and so you're asking me to either hit a ground ball to the left side, which nobody really wants to see, or you're asking me to try to hit a double or a homer. So right. that's where the hits are. That's how I can help my team. So it's like, if you took the shift away, especially think about a situation when we talk about playing the game and, we want to see more action, then when there's a guy on first and the first baseman has to hold the runner on, they're also
we'll play.
When you look out there and you know that any ball you hit to right field that isn't over the fence is an out because there's so many people over there, and so you're asking me to either hit a ground ball to the left side, which nobody really wants to see, or you're asking me to try to hit a double or a homer. So right. that's where the hits are. That's how I can help my team. So it's like, if you took the shift away, especially think about a situation when we talk about playing the game and, we want to see more action, then when there's a guy on first and the first baseman has to hold the runner on, there also shouldn't be 16 infielders on the right side to turn double play when I hit a ground ball to right. I need that hole, but to that 4 hole between the first baseman holding the runner on and the second baseman playing double play depth. Well, yeah, then I would try to hit a ground ball in that hole and play the game a little bit because that gets my guy from first to third, gets me on base. But now, once I get up in that situation, I have first baseman holding the runner on. I have the third baseman in the hole. I have the second baseman playing second, and I have the shortstop up the middle. So Anything I do is an out on the ground. So therefore, I'm in the air again. I'm trying to hit the ball in the air. I'm trying to launch, and not in a way that I'm taking an absolute hack, but my thought has to be in the air, because if I hit it on the ground and there's double play, I've just hurt the team. It's better for me to strike out as far from a run production standpoint. We have in the Chicago Cubs organization, we have a run production, a person. His job is literally run production. Like, I can tell you that if I hit into a double play, it has just hurt the team more than if I struck out on 3 pitches. Or for me, most times I'm having a 5, 6, 7 pitch at bat. If I can wear that guy down and punch out and Rizzo's hitting behind me, that's much more productive than me making early contact and rolling into a double play. For me to be disciplined. So that the game is being played in that way, because we've seen from all of the endless projections that are being run that that's the best way to play the game.
Yeah. So, I mean, he said it pretty clearly that.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say before watching this, I didn't really care. I thought the shift was fine. But having that player mindset and kind of rolling through it the way Hap explained it totally kind of changed my perception of it. And he not only points that out from like a baseball player perspective, but he points out like from a fan perspective, we want to see more action in the game. Hey, the shift is literally taking that away.
And the fact that it would be better for him to strike out than for him to hit into a double play. So his only options are launch and try to hit a home run or strike out. Like, I mean, especially when it's run through your mind, especially when you have 2 strikes, you're like, all right, big daddy hacks here. Because I'm swinging for the fences. And if I miss, all right, Rizzo, it's your turn. Like, I don't like to see that. Like, talking about Trevor Bauer and trying to improve the game and promote the game in a positive way. This would be something where now that would be great to change. Now, do I have any solutions with this? No, I don't know what you would do to make this better. I have no clue. What do you draw lines in the outfield and say you can't cross this line? I don't know how to fix it. I just know that, especially I think the biggest guy that it affects on our team, the Cubs, is Rizzo. Rizzo always just gets cheated. He peppers the ball between first and second base, but when there's a shift, the second baseman's over there, and just you can't beat it. Like, you see these huge dramatic shifts. It's almost impossible for lefties, and it's done more against lefties. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, I think he's beat the shift a couple of times with like laying down a bunt right down the third base line, but
bunting isn't dingers. Our podcast name is Dingers.
Right. Nobody likes to see somebody bunt for a base hit. I mean, a little over dramatic at the end of Major League when Jake Taylor bunted, but whatever.
Right.
But no, I mean, everybody wants to see hits, and not necessarily everybody going yard all the time, but like, I kind of like watching a game of small ball every now and then where, you know, people are going from station to station, and then, the guy that they know is, you know, a pole hitter. Let's everybody go stand over there and field the ball and get him out.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people will say, well, he just needs to hit the ball the other way. When pitchers are when everybody in the position is moved over, the pitcher's going to pitch them to get them to roll over. It's not like the pitcher's just going to groove one down the middle. It's like, all right, hit one over here, or pitch him away so he can slap it the other way. No, they're going to try to drill him inside like they do to Rizzo and get him to pull the ball. Like, it's not easy. Like, we need to give the players a little bit of like grace and understand that the defense is trying to get them to do something too. And when they just shift him like that, it's like, it makes it almost impossible where you either have to hit a dinger or punch out.
Yeah, it almost makes it sound like another pitcher spot in the lineup in the batting order if they shift over and the guy's best decision is to strike out. At that point, you've got 2 pitchers pitching in that lineup at that point.
And what's even worse this year is, let's say you're the 8-hole hitter.
Oh, gosh.
And now you're down to one option, because if I punch out, then it's the pitcher hitting next. he's going to punch out. So my only option is to take a daddy hack and try to get a dinger. Like,
Yep. You're swinging for the fences 3 times in a row.
Oh, yeah.
go get him, Nico.
Oh, my God. He's going to lead the league in strikeouts.
So, I mean, yeah. But we wanted to end the podcast with something fun. I don't know if you've ever listened or to this comedian, Fula Borg. He's a German comedian. He's in some TV shows. I know on Netflix, Brew Bros. I think he's in that. Does a little cameo. But he posted something. I know Ian Happ retweeted it. Him explaining baseball, and so even the Cubs TikTok posted this. So we're gonna run this. I just think it's hilarious.
Baseball? Oh, okay. We have some pillows. We have some pillows on the dirt. And then we have some grass. People just stand all around. Then man with stick is there. And then man look at stick man. And look at man with glove. And he make like this one. And then he, boom. He throw a ball to the stick man. And the stick man may hit. If he make a miss of 3 times, then out. But if 4 times, then boom, then he may walk to a pillow. But if he hit a ball very far, then he may run on all the pillows around the pillows. And sometimes someone is stealing the pillows. If you hit a man with a ball, then he may run to the pillows. The boys in the trench, they sit in the trench and then clap and spit. And then they run to the field. But time out on the 7. After 7 times I've run on field, everyone sing a song about popcorn.
I pity the fool. The only
That's
thing
awesome.
the Germans have done for the game of baseball is bratwurst.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't think I can ever look at a base and not think a
Think of
pillow. A pillow.
I'd like to lay my head on that.
Yeah, that pillow. You would if you got a base hit or you took a walk, you'd walk right down there and put your head on that pillow.
I would. I'd lay down.
I've seen you after burpees.
That's called an active nap. Matter of fact, I didn't do any burpees today. Not a one.
Nice. 10 minutes, folks. He could have done one in 10 minutes.
No
0.
burpees. Hey, I did 1,000 January 1st. I'm done for the year.
Yeah, you banked
I'm
them.
not doing another burpee until 2022.
Well, that's all we have for this week's episode. But we are really excited to be with ChiCitySports. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Become a groupie with us on Facebook group, but also check out the ChiCitySports message boards. Follow them on Twitter. I think they're ChiCitySports23 is their handle. But yeah, we're excited. We're excited to see where this goes. We'll be doing a little bit more Facebook Lives, YouTube live video, so you can follow along with us on video. We'd love to interact with you guys. So please comment. Talk trash, talk smack. We can take it. We got
Fire
thick
away
skin.
with the questions, and we'll do our best to answer them for you. If there's something you want to know about that we haven't picked up, at some point, slide it into the suggestion box. We'll take a look at it. It's either going to make it or we're going to shred it. Whatever.
Yep. Thanks for showing up, folks. It's been fun.
Yep. Thanks.
Thank you.